All right, we are live in beautiful, sunny Florida. And today, fight fans, we're going to be breaking down UFC Fight Night 131. Rivera versus Moraes in Utica, New York. Uh, Good card we got here this week, guys. I'm excited for. I mean, not the biggest name value in the world, but we got some sick fights. We got some good prospects. We got a lot of even matchups. A lot of possible live underdogs. I mean, I love this card. Love it from a betting perspective. Love it from a fan perspective. If you're a casual MMA fan, it's not for you. But if you're a hardcore MMA fan, I know you're excited for this event. So, yeah, man, just to quickly run through last weekend's bets. I did manage to profit about 1 unit this weekend. I had the two plays outside the UFC. I took a 1 unit shot on Rafael Carvalho to beat Musasi at plus 300. Musasi made him look like a joke there. That was a bad bet. But I did manage to cash. In the LFA main event, I had 1 unit on Kevin Aguilar at plus 150 over Tom Lee. I could not believe that line. I really regret not putting more because my boy Kevin Aguilar is legit, and Tom Lee is a little bit of a joke in my opinion. So that was a very surprising line to me. Glad I was able to capitalize there. Um, when it came to the UFC bets, I did go like plus 0.43, so an ever so slight profit. I cashed on my two max bets. I cashed on Tom Breeze over Daniel Kelly there, and I did cash 5 units on Carlo Peter Soli to beat Brad Scott. Some losing plays. I took the 1 unit shot on Mads Burnell. Looked like he was on his way to a 30-27 decision, but dropped the ball there big time. I did have 2 units on Gina Mazzani. She looked like a joke. That was a bad bet. And then I had one more. I had one more. Oh, two. The main event. I feel like I got a little. I don't want to say I got robbed in the main event. I had 2 units on Wonder Boy. I definitely didn't get robbed, but it could have gone either way, and I did score the fight for Wonder Boy. But I'm not going to complain about that one because it was in Liverpool and it was a close fight. So, I mean, what can you do? I mean, I don't think it was necessarily a bad bet. I don't completely regret it just because I do feel like Wonder Boy won, and I feel like if it was anywhere else besides Liverpool, the decision probably would have went to him. But it is what it is. We're here. We're here in Utica this week, and I got 5 plays for you guys. I'm really excited to cash out here, man. So we're gonna start with the first fight of the night. We got a very intriguing flyweight matchup. We got Jose Shorty Torres minus 175 taking on Jared Brooks plus 155. So happy Shorty Torres is making his UFC debut here. He's been one of my favorite fighters outside the UFC for years now. I've been paying attention to this kid since the amateur days. Shout out to the MMA Roasted podcast. I know he's been on there a few times. That's one of the MMA podcasts I listen to religiously. Shorty Torres is a cool guy. He is a very good boxer. He's got some pretty damn good wrestling. He's a very well-rounded fighter. Jared Brooks, the thing that always stands out to me with Jared Brooks is he's very small, even for the smallest weight class in the UFC. I mean, if there was a men's strawweight, he probably could make it, and not only make it, but make it with ease. Small dude, he's got very good wrestling, but I feel like since he carries on so much extra like mass on him at flyweight, he kind of gasses out a little bit towards the end of the fight, and I don't know, man. I feel like Shorty Torres, as long as he can avoid the takedowns, it's kind of a mismatch on the feet. I feel like he has the much better boxing than Jared Brooks. So if Shorty Torres can stuff, I think he might even be able to knock Jared Brooks out here. But this is flyweight. I don't think I want to pick a knockout. So I'm gonna go Shorty Torres. I think he gets this done by a dominating 30-27 decision, but it's going to be a pass for me because I do see a path of victory to Jared Brooks. He is a very strong wrestler, and I could see him wrestling his way to winning the first 2 rounds. So, going to be a pass for me. I'm really looking forward to watching this fight, though. But official pick, Shorty Torres, 30-27 decision. And here we go, guys. This is going to be the one max bet I have on this card. Let me just pull up the exact numbers I got here. So this is going to be my only max bet on the card, but I'm very confident. We got the newcomer Nathaniel Wood minus 290 taking on Johnny Eduardo plus 245. I did get 5 units on Nathaniel Wood at minus 225. Very lucky to get in there and grab that line. I feel like he actually was. I feel like there was actually a better line out there at one point. Yeah, he opened up on one of my books at minus 205. Would have liked to get that, but minus 225, that's an incredible line, especially considering he's minus 290, minus 300 now. But yeah, basically this is mostly a fade on Johnny Eduardo. I mean, the guy is 40 years old. He's been in the game since the 90s. He's been knocked out a few times now. Knocked out by not even the best fighters in the world like Matthew Lopez. I think we've seen by now Matthew Lopez is a little bit of a fraud, getting knocked out himself in his last 2 fights. Nathaniel Wood, he is actually, when it comes to those British or UK prospects, he is definitely the upper echelon. I think I'm a lot more high on this guy than I ever was on Tom Duquesnoy. I think this guy comes in here and smokes Tom Duquesnoy if that fight ever were to happen. So I really like Nathaniel Wood. I think he has got a lot of pop, and he's technical on the feet, man. He keeps it technical. He gets wild sometimes, but even in the wild brawls, man, he keeps it technical. And I think even again for a UK guy, he's ahead of his time, man. He's got the grappling down pat too. The guy can grapple his ass off. He's pretty strong in the clinch. I like this guy a lot, and I kind of feel like him and Johnny Eduardo will most likely go in there and exchange bombs. And the guy who has been knocked out a few times now, the guy that's been fighting since the 90s, the guy who's 40 years old in a small weight class where speed is most important, I think Johnny Eduardo goes down here, and I think it's going to be quite easy. I'd say 2 minutes into the first round. I got Nathaniel Wood here via a first round KO. I think he makes a statement here in his debut. So, yeah, 5 units. Nathaniel Wood minus 225. That's my biggest play of the weekend. So, go Nathaniel Wood. Official pick is going to be first round KO. So moving on to the next fight here, I do indeed have another play, and this time it's an underdog play. So we got Jessica Aguilar minus 130 taking on Jodi Esquibel plus 110. I did get so I got 2 units on Jodi Esquibel at plus 145, and then I added another half unit at plus 130. But yeah, all in all, I got Jodi Esquibel 2.5 units at average odds of plus 144. Yeah, man, I just feel like this is a case of old school versus new school. And not only that, I've been looking to fade Jessica Aguilar for quite a while now, just because, oh, man, the layoffs, the injuries, the fact that every time she has fought in the UFC so far, she's just looked clueless and hasn't really done a damn thing. And she got dominated by a not-so-great fighter in Courtney Casey last time out. And Jodi Esquibel, I feel like her boxing is sharp enough, and I feel like her wrestling is sharp enough to where it's just a case of the young lion is going to take out the old one, and I feel like Jodi Esquibel will probably just have her way with this fight no matter where it goes the entire time. I feel like she can take down Jessica Aguilar, hold her down. I feel like she can outstrike Jessica Aguilar. I don't understand the line here at all. I guess it's just the resumes. Jessica Aguilar, she's been around for a while, picked up some decent wins back in the day, but this isn't back in the day. This is the now, and Jodi Esquibel is going out there having close fights with Karolina Kowalkiewicz, close fights with Alexa Grasso. She beat Deanna Bennett, who also has fought in the UFC. I mean, Jodi Esquibel is definitely no future top 10 by any means, but when it comes to the spot, she is good enough 100% to take out Jessica Aguilar here. So I'm going to go with Jodi Esquibel. I like her wherever the fight goes, and I'm going to say she gets this done by a 30-27 decision. So yeah, 2.5 units on Jodi at average odds of plus 144. Once again, very glad I was able to get in there early because she now sits at plus 110, plus 100 on a lot of books. Most books, she's plus 100. And I would go out on a limb and say that Jodi Esquibel will probably close as the favorite by the time fight time hits. So, yeah, pretty confident in Jodi here. Probably the best underdog pick of the card, in my opinion. So, yeah, I got Jodi Esquibel 2.5 units. So, moving on to back-to-back-to-back plays here, man. We got Desmond Green, minus 300, taking on Gleison Tibau, plus 250. This is a simple one, man. So, Gleison Tibau, obviously, there's the layoff, there's the USADA concerns, and I faded him in his last fight against Islam Makhachev. I thought Islam Makhachev was going to be able to handle the guy who's not on the juice anymore and take down Gleison Tibau, dominate him on the mat for 3 rounds. But the Russian wrestler went out there and starched Gleison Tibau on the feet in less than a minute, something I was completely not expecting as somebody that bet Islam Makhachev there. I think that just showed, the guy's 45 fights into his career. Yeah, he's not even that old. He's only 33, 34, but dude's 60 in fight years for sure. I think Gleison Tibau is about done. I think this could be his last fight, man. I mean, I would say probably not, but I don't think the guy has much left to give in his career. And Desmond Green is a guy who he came in on his UFC debut and beat Josh Emmett, a guy who a lot of people are very high on. Desmond Green is a very slick southpaw striker. He's got that wrestling behind him. He's a difficult guy to deal with on the feet, and then he has that wrestling in his back pocket. Desmond Green is a tough fight for anybody, and he lost to Rustam Khabilov. I mean, everyone loses to Rustam Khabilov, and that was a very close fight. Keep in mind, and then he loses his last fight to Michella Prazeres. Everyone loses to Michella Prazeres, and that was a very close fight. I mean, these last 2 losses, you're looking at Rustam Khabilov 21-3, Michella Prazeres 24-2. I mean, that's not what Gleison Tibau is. Gleison Tibau is a 50-fight veteran coming off a USADA suspension, coming off long layoffs, coming off a 45-second knockout over a Russian wrestler. So I think Desmond Green, he takes this fight wherever it goes. I think he dominates Gleison Tibau over the course of 15 minutes. If not, finishes the guy. So I got in on the opener on Desmond Green, minus 185. Fortunately, I was only able to get 2.5 units on it on such short amount of time, but I'm happy with it. So 2.5 units minus 185 to win 1.35 units. Would have liked to have more, but it is what it is. Now he's minus 300, so I'm happy with the bet. 2.5 units, Desmond Green. I think he dominates Gleison Tibau. Official pick, I'll say 30-26 decision. So moving on to the next fight, didn't look into this one a whole lot, but we got Belal Muhammad minus 400 taking on Chase Rencountre plus 325. Didn't look into it too much just because of the odds, minus 400. I don't really look to bet minus 400s a whole lot, especially in weird spots like these where you got a debuting guy versus Belal Muhammad. He definitely is a solid fighter, and he probably is somewhere around the 15 to 20 ranked welterweight, but man, we've seen these guys come in with nothing to lose on their debuts and knock out the UFC veterans, like we just saw with Hernandez knocking out Beneil Dariush. I mean, could this be the same situation? It's not like we haven't seen Belal Muhammad get knocked out before, and this kid Chance, he packs a punch. So and he's a big dude. So I mean, if he were to come out here and starch Belal Muhammad, yeah, I'd be a little surprised, but I wouldn't think it would be the biggest upset in the world. So obviously stay away from the minus 400 in Belal Muhammad, but no surprise, he is going to be the pick. I think he's the more skilled fighter by a lot, and he'll probably outstrike Chance here over the course of 3 rounds. So I'm going to go with Belal Muhammad, 30-27 decision, but it's going to be a pass from a betting perspective all around. So moving on to the next one, man, we got David Tamer, minus 290, taking on Nick Lentz, plus 245. David Tamer, one of my favorite fighters to watch in the UFC, so I bet on him in his last 2 fights. So I bet on him as a huge underdog against Lando Venado, and he came through for me. But then in his last fight, I made the mistake of fading him against Drakkar Klose. I thought Drakkar Klose's grappling, his wrestling was going to be too much. I thought he was going to leg kick Tamer and take him down, but that wasn't the case. David Tamer is absolutely the real deal here. And he's getting put up against a guy who is on the tail end of his career, Nick Lentz. Obviously, Nick Lentz is still he's a great grappler, and he pushes a pace for sure. I just feel like on the feet, David Tamer is just levels above Nick Lentz, and he's never going to give Nick Lentz that chance to get it to the ground, get it to where he wants it. Yeah, man, I just feel like David Tamer could probably come out here and starch him quick. But Nick Lentz is a tough, durable dude, so I'm gonna say David Tamer outstrikes him to a 30-27 here. Fights a smart fight, avoids any kind of grappling situations. So I'm gonna say David Tamer wins this fight by a nice little domination there on the feet. 30-27 decision. Now, of course, a knockout wouldn't surprise me. So yeah, I did parlay David Tamer. I have 2 units on David Tamer parlayed with somebody in the next card next week. So I'll talk about that parlay. Hopefully David Tamer cashes for me here. So yeah, I got him parlayed 2 units at -1 or -270 with somebody in next week's card. An official pick, I'll say 30-27 decision. Moving on to the next one, man, we got Ciara Eubanks -170 taking on Lauren Murphy +150. It's another play for me, guys. I got 2.5 units on Ciara Eubanks -145. And this actually, yeah, this is going to be the last play of the card for me. Yeah, I got 2.5 units Ciara Eubanks -145. Lauren Murphy is a fighter I've never really been impressed with. I don't think she does anything particularly well. She goes out there and has close fights with decent fighters, but I think Ciara Eubanks, she's a chick I've been watching for a very long time, back in her Invicta days. Always been impressed with her, and you know, that 2-2 record, it is a little deceiving. She went out there, lost to Caitlin Chookagian, and who else? Aspen Ladd. I mean, we're talking about 2 top 10s in the UFC right now. Aspen Ladd being a 135 pounder. So I mean, the fact that she went out there and got out grappled by Aspen Ladd, who's now a 135 pounder, I don't hold that too much against her. And the whole 2-2 thing, I mean, including the Ultimate Fighter, where she won 3 straight fights, she's 5-2, man, and she's not out there beating the most scrubbish of scrubs. She went out there, beat Roxanne Martifari and Deanna Bennett, smoked Deanna Bennett and Roxanne Martifari, and you know, looking at Lauren Murphy on the Ultimate Fighter show, she went out there and lost to a fighter with a similar record as Ciara Eubanks. She went out there and got dominated by Nico Montano, the current flyweight champion, for 2 rounds there. It was only a 2-round fight because it was tough, but Nico Montana, she dominated her. She was 3-2 at the time. Ciara Eubanks 2-2, but she's really 5-2 if we're being honest here. I just feel like there's a big difference between Lauren Murphy and Ciara Eubanks' skill set here. I think Ciara can take her down, out-grapple her, hold her down. I feel like she smokes Murphy on the feet. I like her wherever this fight goes, and I think the line should be a lot wider. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the official decision, 30-27 unanimous for Ciara Eubanks. And, yeah, 2.5 units -145. So moving on to the next one here, man, I'm looking forward to this one. We got Sam Alvey -140 taking on Gian Villante +120. I think if anything, the line should maybe be flipped. I feel like the game plan is definitely out there to beat Sam Alvey, and it's really not hard to go out there and execute that game plan. We saw Talus Ladies do it not too long ago, and that's to keep it pretty on the feet and leg kick this guy, and basically just don't take any chances, because Sam Alvey does throw bombs. And thing is, I feel like Gian Villante definitely has the skills to go out there and leg kick Sam Alvey and jab up Sam Alvey for 3 rounds, but Gian Villante has a little case of not having the best fight IQ, and I feel like maybe he runs in there and gets caught by Sam Alvey. So I don't know, man. It's definitely a very tough fight to call. It's Gion's fight to lose. I feel like he's definitely the more skilled fighter, and I'm a huge fan of Sam Alvey. I met the guy at Disney World right after I went and watched him knock out the Russian in his last fight. It wasn't a Russian, it was a Polish. Forget the guy's name, but Sam Alvey just smoked that guy in February. I was there to watch it, and then I met him the very next day at Disney World. He talked to me and my family for about 10 minutes. Nicest guy in the world. But I don't know, man. I think I'm going to go with Gian Vellante here. I'm going to say he gets this done by a 30-27 decision. I think he can go out there and execute a not even that complicated game plan, because that's really all it takes. And not only that, I mean, there's a size difference here, guys. There definitely is a size difference. I feel like, I mean, Sam Alvey's a guy who used to fight at 170. So I don't know how I feel about him coming up here to 205 pounds. So I'm going to go with Gian Vellante. I feel like the underdog will come through here. I'll say 30-27 decision, but it's going to be a pass for me. Moving on to the next one of the most intriguing fights on the card. We got Julio Arce, minus 210, taking on Daniel Tamer, plus 175. I don't think Julio Arce should be this big of a favorite. I feel like Daniel Tamer, he's a guy who has some of the best striking I've actually seen in a while. I mean, going back and doing tape on this guy, he not only does he throw bombs, he throws them technically, man. And I feel like he's going to be a dangerous fight for anybody. Julio Arce, I feel like he is a very skilled guy, but if there's any kind of knock on him, it might be his striking defense. We saw him in his Contender Series fight against Peter Pettis. Now, Peter Pettis, if you don't know that guy, he is a very skilled striker, but there's kind of a mental problem with him. It's just he's not all there mentally. So Peter Pettis went out there and dominated Julio Arce on the feet for that first round, and then he had a mental lapse and got finished in the second round. And I feel like it very well might be a case of Daniel Tamer first round KO or bust here, but I don't know, man. I feel like maybe he could even go out there and pull out the decision, but I feel like if it does go 3 rounds, it most likely will be a Arce decision. However, I'm going to go with Daniel Tamer to win this fight via first round knockout. I'm going to go with the underdog here. I don't know if I really want to bet it. I feel like there's definitely a lot better plays than fading a guy like Julio Arce, who definitely has a bright future. But I feel like Daniel Tamer comes out here and he'll be too much for Arce on the feet, and he'll catch him in that first round. And going down a weight class, he was extremely outsized in his last fight at lightweight. I feel like featherweight's definitely the weight class for him. So, yeah, man, I think I'm going to go with Daniel Tamer here via that first round knockout upset. So, yeah, gonna pass from it, but I'm gonna be having a lot of him in DraftKings, and I'd like to see him pull it off here. So official pick, Daniel Tamer, first round knockout. One other thing to point out, I think it's a big deal that you got both Tamer brothers on this card. They're going through the whole process together. They're with each other side by side, and I think that's a big deal for them mentally. I feel like that's gonna help them both out mentally a lot. I think that's a good thing for these guys. So yeah, Daniel Tamer, first round knockout. So moving on to the next fight, man, battle of, I don't want to say legends, but definitely battle of the old school here. We got Jake Ellenberger minus 190 taking on Ben Saunders plus 165. Credit to both these guys for 2 amazing UFC careers, man. They've both put on phenomenal fights, phenomenal performances. I'm a big fan of both these guys, if we're being honest, but they're both at the tail end for sure. And this definitely is great matchmaking by Sean Shelby here, but I don't know how much this fight really matters in the scheme of things, because whoever wins this fight is most likely going to go get knocked out in their next fight. But if we're talking about Jake Ellenberger, Ben Saunders, I feel like Jake Ellenberger is going to come out like a madman in the first, like he always does, and I feel like he could probably take out Ben Saunders here. I feel like he still probably has enough in the tank. Ben Saunders, man, I just talked about that card I went to in February in Orlando, and if we're going to talk about that card, one of the most crazy things on that card is the way Ben Saunders got absolutely flatlined there. And guys, that was 3 months ago. It was 3 months ago, and Ben Saunders is coming back here taking on another knockout artist in Jake Ellenberger. I feel like Ben Saunders definitely did not take enough time off, and even before that, Alan Jouban knockout 3 months ago got absolutely flatlined by Peter Sabota. I mean, this is once you start getting knocked out, you're going to start getting knocked out every time. Jake Ellenberger, I'll give him credit. He took time off since the Mike Perry knockout. He took over a year off, and now he's coming in here fresh. I feel like the fresher fighter is going to win, and I think the minus 200 range on Jake Ellenberger is absolutely warranted here. I feel like he's going to come out here and knock out Ben Saunders. And I think Ben Saunders, his bigger advantage would definitely be with the grappling. He wants to get it on the mat, but Jake Ellenberger is a really good wrestler, and I don't see any way Ben Saunders can get it there. And when it comes to the feet, Ellenberger has way more pop in his punches. He's probably a little more technical. As long as he actually throws and does what he needs to do, this is his fight all day. So I'm going to go with Jake Ellenberger. I'm going to say he gets it done by first-round knockout. But, of course, I don't know if I can trust Jake Ellenberger in 2018, so it's a clear pass for me. But I'm going to go with Jake Ellenberger first-round knockout, and I will have him in a few DraftKings lineups for sure. So moving on to the next fight, we got Walt Harris minus 300 taking on Daniel Spitz plus 250. Daniel Spitz is an interesting guy. So he came in, lost to Mark Godbeer in his debut, and then knocks out Anthony Hamilton in his last fight. So, I mean, the guy is definitely one of the lower end heavyweights, and Walt Harris does tend to go out there and knock out the lower end heavyweights, which is why he's minus 300 here. I get it. But Daniel Spitz is a guy with a lot of size. He's got decent footwork. He's decently light on his feet for this division's standards. And obviously he's got pop in his punches if he's going out there and knocking out Anthony Hamilton. I mean, Anthony Hamilton definitely is one of the easier guys to knock out in the UFC. I mean, who doesn't knock out Anthony Hamilton? But Walt Harris is suspect, has a little bit of a suspect chin in defense as well. So, I mean, would it surprise me a lot if Daniel Spitz went out here and knocked out Walt Harris? No, I don't think I'd be surprised at all, but I think Walt Harris is going to be the smart pick here. I didn't look into this one a whole lot, but I feel like Walt Harris is just a lot more athletic, probably has the more technical striking, and you could probably go in here and pounce on Daniel Spitz and knock him out early. So I'm going to go with Walt Harris first round KO, but do not parlay him at minus 300. Definitely would not recommend that for sure. But yeah, this is just the kind of caliber guys that Walt Harris tends to go out there and knock out. So Walt Harris, first round KO, will be my official pick. So moving on to the co-main event of the evening, we got Gregor Gillespie minus 430 taking on Vince Pichel plus 345. Now, I've never had any doubt. Gregor Gillespie has been my pick since this fight was announced, but I've just been fluctuating back and forth on whether or not this line is accurate. Should Gregor Gillespie be a minus 450 to minus 500 favorite in this spot? And I'm going back and forth whether or not he should or not. And I don't know. I feel like I guess minus 400 would probably be an accurate range here. I mean, he's got an obvious wrestling advantage. He's one of the best wrestlers in MMA, period. And Vince Pichel, I mean, a lot of people go and look in Vince Pichel's record, go do tape on Vince Pichel. Oh, what wrestler has he faced? Oh, he fought Rustam Khabilov. Let's watch this fight. Oh, Rustam Khabilov absolutely outclassed him with his wrestling. Gregor Gillespie's going to absolutely outclass him with his wrestling. It's a lot different, guys. First of all, stand Gregor Gillespie and Rustam Khabilov next to each other. You're going to see a massive size difference. Gregor Gillespie is one of the smaller guys in the lightweight division. Vince Pichel is one of the bigger guys in the lightweight division. Vince Pichel hits like a fucking truck. I feel like if Gregor Gillespie comes in here and tries to test his striking, that will not go well for him. If Gregor Gillespie goes in there and gets a few takedowns stuffed, it won't go well for him. So I don't know, man. I feel like Vince Pichel, he's got the puncher's chance here, but if I'm just talking about a puncher's chance, then it should he be plus 345? I guess, yeah, he should, but I don't know, man. Don't go parlaying Gregor Gillespie at minus 430 here because Vince Pichel packs a punch and there's a size difference in this fight. But of course, no surprise, gonna go with the minus 430 favorite. I'm gonna say Gregor Gillespie gets it done by 30-27 decision off of wrestling alone. So Gregor Gillespie, wrestling-based decision, 30-27 is the official pick. So moving on to the main event, we got Jimmie Rivera minus 115 taking on Marlon Moraes minus 105. This is a tough one. I've been going back and forth on this one. A few days ago, I was having some confidence on Jimmie Rivera, but I don't know. I've gone back to my original thoughts of this should be a pick'em fight. This is a really close fight, so I feel like Jimmie Rivera could probably come out here and outpoint Marlon on the feet for the course of 5 rounds, but I kind of feel like Marlon has more ways to win. I feel like if a finish happens, it's going to be him winning via knockout. One thing I noticed, these Tiger Schulman guys, these Tiger Schulman strikers kind of have suspect defense a little bit. They leave their chin out there and they get caught a lot. I mean, Jimmie Rivera himself, he's gotten dropped a few times in the UFC. These guys like Shane Burgos, Uriah Hall, Jimmie Rivera, Lyman Good, these guys all have suspect defense, and Marlon Moraes might be good enough to capitalize on that and give Jimmie Rivera his first knockout loss. So I don't know, man, but and another thing, Jimmie Rivera does kind of slow down a little bit, so I definitely understand the money that came in on Marlon Moraes. I feel like he was a little disrespected in that opener, so I don't know, man. It's definitely one of those fights I want to sit back and watch as a fan. I'm not confident either way by any means. Definitely feel like Marlon has more ways to win, but I kind of feel like Jimmie Rivera outboxing him to a 48-47 decision. Feel like that might be the most likely thing. And Marlon tends to go to a lot of close splits so far in the UFC. Close split with the Sunsao, close split with Dodson. Jimmie Rivera's had a couple close fights. I feel like most likely this fight ends up being a close decision, and I don't know which way to lean here, man. I really, really have no idea which way to lean, but I'm going to go with Jimmie El Terror Rivera. I'm going to say he gets this done by a 48-47 split decision, but it's such a close fight. I really have zero confidence here at all, so yeah, I'm going to say Jimmie Rivera gets it done, 48-47 decision. Really looking forward to the fight, though. I'm glad I don't have a play on it, so I can just sit back and watch it as a fan. But excellent, excellent fight, excellent matchmaking. And it's a grudge match. What more could you ask for? Amazing main event, awesome card. But quickly, just to run down my my 5 plays for this card, I do have 5 units Nathaniel Wood, minus 225, 2.5 units Jodi Esquibel, plus 144. 2.5 units Desmond Green, minus 185. 2 units David Tamer at minus 270 in a parlay with somebody in the next card. And then 2.5 units on CR Eubanks at minus 145. So thank you guys very much for watching, tuning in here on the live morning edition. Dave, Boogs, appreciate the live chat, guys. Fave prop bet for this card. I feel like if you're gonna go with a prop bet for this card, it'd probably be. I was actually looking at Ellenberger wins inside the distance at plus money, because I don't know if this fight will go to decision. And I feel like if it goes to decision, I definitely don't think Jake Ellenberger will win it. So I think my favorite prop bet this card would be Jake Ellenberger to win inside the distance at plus 104. But yeah, appreciate you guys very much. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the fights this weekend. Next week we got a pay-per-view. I'm trying to pull things together. I'm trying to get a round table for the card next week. But yeah, guys, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Once again, subscribe to the channel, like the video. It takes 2 seconds. Comment below, tell me who you're betting on. Follow me on Twitter. Down to talk fights with just about anybody. So yeah, let's win these bets. Enjoy the fights this weekend.